Hey, welcome back to the Spectra Creative Channel. I'm your host, Scott Toy Guru Knightlick, author of Myth Wars, available now on Amazon. Well, I do videos mostly on this channel about the toy industry from my time working in it, and I got an email from Dennis Gray asking me why toys aren't sold in plastic bags anymore, the way they were in the 80s. Now, what Dennis is referring to is promotional toys in the 80s, where you would mail order a product and it would show up in your, mailbox. What a surprise there. Usually in what was called a white coffin box, and then inside was your action figure that was in a Ziploc bag or a, little sealed baggie. This was notorious for mail-away figures, probably the most infamous being the Boba Fett that was promoted as being rocket firing, but turned out not to be after an unfortunate accident with a Battlestar Galactica toy. And this continued with many brands, Thundercats and Superpowers. Everyone seemed to want to jump on the bandwagon of mail-away figures. It was a great way to drive sales, because you had to send in proof of purchase points. There's whole guides to this online. I definitely suggest checking it out, such as Ron Salvador's guide to the Return of the Jedi and Star Wars mail-away. I'm not an expert on those, but there are people online that are going to be able to basically help with any detail you could want. That's why they're experts. All right, so back to the question. Why don't modern toys get shipped like this? I mean, it's a lot less expensive, right? And there's collectability too. I mean, if they're in the bag or out of the bag, right? That's more valuable for us adult collectors. Sure, why not? There are modern toys that do this, and sometimes it's done as an homage or homage. 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 I always pronounce it homage, but it's homage. But not always. Hasbro can go back and forth. When they did the Indiana Jones toys for Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, all of the mail-away figures weren't in plastic baggies, but rather they were in plastic trays that came shipped in crate boxes, sort of another take on the white box. Infamously, the Toy Fair magazine and Wizard magazine giveaway figures, well, not giveaway, you had to pay for them, were shipped in coffin boxes and figures in baggies. It's probably one of the last times that there was a large number of figures available in the mail that were being mailed on sort of a monthly basis in baggies. So yeah, I miss Toy Fair magazine. So many characters we got purely because they existed. It's a shame that people don't kind of always connect the dots with that we get fewer toys when things like magazines and stores close down. Now, this wasn't universal. They did release some figures in full boxes, such as the Boxing Homer figure from Playmates. Not every figure got the figure in a baggy treatment. And honestly, I think this is because of changing times as customers became more and more in need of a packaged presentation. So you've seen lots of modern giveaway, mail-away figures that are not in plastic bags, but are sometimes offered in full retail dress, as if they were hanging at Target or Walmart. Someplace we do see this in modern lines are with army builders. So Marvel Legends does this with a lot of figures, and the reason they're in baggies is not just because they're army builders, but again because they're sold online. They're sold through the internet. And this is directly related to perceived value in the retail aisle. So let's take a look at some of those army builders that Hasbro has, right? They do them for Marvel Legends, they do them for Star Wars, and the figures usually ship in a, again, a white box with one color or two color print. Usually it's black or red. Those are the less expensive colors to print with, which is why you don't see full color boxes. They don't need to do full color because you're not dealing with convincing someone to buy this off shelf. They've already committed to buying it. And you will see when you have that scenario, the figures are in plastic baggies inside of the white box. This is because we've already committed, we've already bought it, kind of like the mail-away figures from the 80s. You don't need to be convinced by the packaging on shelf to make that purchase. Packaging is the largest advertiser of toys, and it's what shows off piece count and the perceived value. When you have a toy that you can see, you're going to be drawn to it. And that's why at retail they don't have figures hanging in baggies. Well, it's one of the reasons. Obviously, you can see a figure that's hanging in a baggie, but it doesn't really look that attractive. Packaging is a marketing tool to draw you to purchase it, to pick it off the shelf. You want it to be colorful. You want it to show off the product. Maybe it has a try me. It lets you actually touch the product and get that physical sensation of connecting. That is what drives sales. When you package figures in closed boxes, like Hasbro did in 2023, it's the reverse. You're hiding the toy and not showing the value. This is a big reason why Hasbro's sales were down so much. It's not just because of the content not doing well, it's because they were packaging their product and hiding it inside of boxes and not showing it off. The other big reason the toys are not sold in baggies is because it looks cheap. It communicates bootleg. People are used to seeing things when they hang in baggies as something that is inexpensive and sort of a throwaway object, which is, again, why you see bootleg toys sold this way. Partially it's to save cost, but it's because when you're selling a bootleg toy, you really don't care. So whether it's closed boxes because it hides the toy or baggies because it devalues the toy, this is why we don't see them at retail. We'll continue to see baggies for figures sold in the mail. Not always. I mean, when we did Matty Collector, we had full packaging for all the figures, but that's because we knew people were going to want to display them in package. Most of the time, though, you're going to only see mail-away and kind of mail-away army builders sold this way because they don't require that extra retail step. And again, you're not seeing these at retail because it devalues the toy, and they look like cheap bootleg toys when they're sold in plastic baggies. Some of the only things sold in plastic baggies are things like, fidget toys or, sometimes you can find spices sold this way at different markets. But yeah, it's not something that collectors and consumers like to purchase product in because even though you can see the toy in a plastic baggie, it doesn't look like it's got perceived value the way a toy does in a blister. I hope this was a good look at why toys are not sold in baggies at retail. If you have any other questions about this or need more information, let me know, and don't forget to pick up a copy of MythWars on sale on Amazon right now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.